And Jeff Wondra joins us today from Snell Motors on the corner of Madison Avenue and Highway 22 in Mankato. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Did you have a Merry Christmas?
I had a very Merry Christmas.
Good for you. Good. Well, now we're back into bold action here, and we have just a few days, 3-4 days left in 2016. So we always talk about great deals at the end of a month. I got to imagine there's also really great deals at the end of a year, which happens to coincide with the end of the last month of the year. And today we're talking about something with GM vehicles that we want to learn a little bit more about, the stop-start technology. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, it's Buick and Cadillac are the biggest ones doing it right now as opposed to GMC. But the other manufacturers out there, if you're driving like a Mercedes, BMW, there's a lot of people, Chevy, that are putting this technology in their vehicles. And it's just to improve fuel efficiency in stop-start driving and traffic situations, really. What happens is the vehicle automatically shuts down the engine if the conditions are right in traffic, which would it's almost like a hybrid in that instance. So you're not running and idling, especially when it's really cold out. Not too cold, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But when it's cold out, you see all that exhaust coming out of the tailpipe, and you're waiting at the stoplight for a couple of minutes. I mean, all that stuff adds up. It's like, throwing all your change in a change jar, when it all adds up, it's a lot of money. When all that fuel is saved at the end of the year, that's a lot of dollars back in your pocket. So when you pull up to a stop, and as soon as you're about to leave that stop situation, as soon as your foot lifts off the brake pedal, then the engine starts back up. It takes 0.3 seconds for that to happen. So let's say that you're trying really hard to move your foot from the brake to the gas pedal as fast as possible. You might be able to get it there in 0.3 seconds, but it's unlikely. So as long as you're not trying to prove me wrong kind of thing, which I know that half the people will do that now.
You're married. You know how that goes.
Right. You won't have any issues with it not starting in time before you accelerate and any jerking motions or anything like that. The vehicle must be below 3 miles per hour, so it's not going to happen at like 30 or 40 miles per hour. The vehicle must be in drive. So you can't do it if you're in park. It's not going to shut off. It has to be in drive, so it knows it's a traffic situation. Your foot has to be on the brake and have it depressed all the way down to the floor. And just to restart it, you simply let your foot off the brake. Now, in what conditions will the engine not shut off? Because there's a lot of people out there right now yelling at the radio going, "Oh, what if it's like 0 and it doesn't start back up again? What if the battery's not charged, Jeff? What do you think about that?" So there are conditions that the engine won't shut off when you come to that complete stop. One is outside temperature below 14 degrees. Every vehicle knows what the temperature is outside, so if it's below 14, it won't even try, because we don't want to have a hard start. The battery temperature is less than 32 degrees, or greater than 131, so it works on both sides. The HVAC system, so your heat and air, let's say it's working really hard, it's on high. It won't shut off, because it knows we don't want to have any issues here. We want to keep them warm inside. Let's see, the defrost. If you have your defroster on, it also won't shut off the engine. And if your battery charge is low. So let's say that most of those conditions are met, and you're like, okay, so this should work. Let's try it out. But it's not working. That's another thing is we get a lot of calls, "Oh, this thing's junk, it doesn't work." Maybe the battery charge is low. Maybe it's something you can't physically see on any of your driver information. Maybe your defrost button's on, and you didn't think of it. So a few of those reasons when you're using it that it doesn't work might be actually there's nothing wrong with it. It's just doing its job. So big thing is reduce the fuel consumption and reduce the CO2 emissions. Going green, baby. And what the studies have shown is a person that drives in the city can actually save as much as 10% or get 10% better fuel efficiency over the life of their vehicle. So pretty big deal. And then the CO2 emissions are down 5% over the life of the vehicle, which, again, 5% times 100,000 people it's a lot. And then we get into the whole global warming situation, but we'll skip that today. So the engine will automatically restart under these conditions. The engine hood is opened. The engine, then it'll start up automatically because, you'd hate to have somebody in the vehicle and then it starts when you're not expecting it while you have your tie dangling over like the serpentine belt or something like that. So safety deal. The battery charge is low. It'll kick it back on again. So if it's like, I'm getting pretty low, it's going to jump over. The HVAC demand increases, so kind of same on both sides. So if you need that HVAC control, it'll turn back on. If your vehicle's speed gets over 3 miles per hour, it'll automatically turn back on. Even if you're like idling downhill, it'll do it. You'll see your brake booster vacuum has been reduced. Then it will automatically turn the engine back on. Engine coolant reaches a temperature greater than 257 degrees. And the economy mode is turned off by the driver. Then that will also turn it back on. And if it exceeds 2 minutes. So if you're sitting there at that light for more than 2 minutes, it'll automatically turn it back on. So another thing is, where it's not broken. It's just doing its job. Now, although it sounds like a very complex system, it's made up of a battery, an upgraded starter motor, because, that's another thing. Well, the starter is going to go out faster. Well, that's why we have a warranty, but it has an upgraded starter motor, an engine control module, and an intelligent battery sensor. That's it. Those are the only components in the stop-start technology altogether. So it is very complex, but it's very simple at the same time. This is something that we can easily show you and replicate right in our showroom, so you don't have to go outside and just show you how that stop-start works. We can kind of take a cruise around the showroom, come to a complete stop, engine shuts off, pretty cool. That way you're comfortable with it before you leave with your new vehicle by the end of the year.
There you go.
That's all I got.
Got 4 days. Less black ice being created while you're sitting at the intersections, I would imagine.
Good point.
Good point there. And sort of high-tech golf cart technology right there.
Yeah.
I figured I'd bring golf back into the mix here late December. Make us think about warmer weather and green grass for a little bit anyway. Jeff Wondra with us today. Stop-start technology on wheels with Wondra from Snell Motors. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Get well. I can tell you're struggling a little bit today. You don't have quite the projection. I've got your volume up a little bit higher today.
Thank you. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
We're all doing that. So, Wheels with Wondra today from Snell Motors on Minnesota 93.
From the first